abdomen is something that there's a lot of things that can be happening with an abdomen. So the stuff I'm going to show you is extremely basic, and it will give you some relief, but it's something I want you to remember is that there's a lot of organs in here, and there's the liver over here, there's the pancreas and spleen, there's the stomach that's about right here, there's small intestines, there's large intestines that run around, and the kidneys are in the back. The kidneys are behind a structure that is a sac that holds all this viscera here. They're on the outside of that. I believe that's called a mesentery. I might be mistaken on that. I haven't had to know these terms for a long time. So basically, I would say that abdomen should be approached very gently, particularly if there's any kind of pain. You can help the bowels to move, and that's basically all I'm going to be showing you today, is how to get the rotation going to help things get moving in the body. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on. Do not go deep into the abdomen unless you know exactly where you are, what's underneath your hands, and where you're going with it. And if you do start to dig in and it's pulling you in, then be mindful to follow the anatomy. Don't decide that you need to go here or there, just follow the anatomy. In order to keep the lymphatic system in its integrity, their quadrants are cut in quarters like that, and the flowing, it drains this direction, this direction, this direction, and this direction in that quadrant. So if you're working just the top muscle, you can work it in that direction if you're going to just, that's a good way to start. Just let it flow that way. You're not really going to be doing lymph work this way, but it's just nice to let it know that you're respecting it, and it's a good place to start. And some people have very tight stomachs. They've been working out, so that's a little different situation than somebody who has problems with their stomachs or surgeries. Now you can start down here just a little higher ridge than the pubic bone, the ridge of the pubic bone, and just take an upward direction. Just very gently up to the rib. Be careful up here. And then one on the other side. Whenever you're working the abdomen, you want to go in a clockwise direction, because that's the way that the large intestine flows. You don't want to go in a counterclockwise way, especially when you're circling outside over the large intestine. It's just, that's not the way the peristalsis is meant to go, and it confuses the system. So we're working primarily with that, so big circular motions is a good idea to start with. If you learn a little lymphatic work with it, you can bring a lot more relief to some of the stomachs that are feeling bad from either gallbladder pain or liver pain or some other kind of stuff. But because we're not doing that advanced of work, I'm just going to keep you focusing more on the movement of the large intestine. Now there's one thing that I am going to show you next, and that is that we're going to start here at the at the end of the large intestine, and we're going to move it a little bit this way, just kind of a stretching action, and then we're going to back it up. Now here we're going to be going counterclockwise. The reason for this is because you have to have this part where it's all moving to starting to move first. It would be, otherwise it would be like just trying to jam something into a wall. So you want to get this part moving, and the peristalsis and everything. Now the bowel kind of moves up and then back down, but we can just worry about it right to here and just stretch it up and around the corner. And now here again, like I say, we're going backward, but we're pushing in the clockwise direction, but we're moving counterclockwise. back in here, somewhere in here. You can find it if you know what to look for. You can feel where the small intestine will drain into the large intestine. Then once you do that, once you get it open, then you can start on this end and do a little vibration. It's just wiggling your hand back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then when you get up near the rib, you'll kind of feel what you're supposed to do. If you're paying attention and you have a picture in your head of what you're on and where you're going with this, you'll be able to feel where you are, and you don't have to really guess at it. But if you can't feel it, that's why it's good to have a mental image, and then you'll be able to know that you're somewhere in the vicinity close to it or on top of it. Then you can take this process and do it again, going backward into it but pushing it forward. Around there, and then take it and bring it up this way. Across and down. Okay. And you can also take this center part where basically the small intestine is, and you can do a little bit of kneading, or you're just gently moving it back and forth, kneading it and wringing it a little bit, working it like so. Very gently. This oftentimes will work better if someone isn't full of food, because then there's a digestion process taking place. Now the small intestines is like a bunch of spaghetti noodles, so you can make circular motions in, kind of work it around, and wring it some more. And you can also go up right along the rib and just brush it this direction and under the liver, under the rib cage there, over the liver, and come that way. You can take your hands underneath and bring it up. This is a wrapping kind of motion. You can take it right at the waist. You can move it up a little bit to the hip. You can move it down, or excuse me, the ribs. You can move it down to the hip and wrap it, or you can take one hand and wrap it this way, which is probably the easiest one to do. You're just doing one at a time. And then you would want to go to the other side of the table or mat, or just lean over. This is a little tricky to do it like this, but it can be done. It just gets harder on the therapist. And then check it again. Up and around. You can hear all the peristalsis going on. Okay, so that's what you can do to help in somebody just have